April 27, 1994. Long lines snake across the landscapes of South Africa. For the first time, millions of people, regardless of their skin color, are casting a vote. This moment wasn't just an election. It was the culmination of a centuries-long struggle, a long walk to freedom. But to understand this miracle, we have to go back. Long before 1994, this land saw waves of colonization, first by the Dutch, then the British, which eventually led to the creation of the Union of South Africa in 1910. This new state was built on a foundation of racial hierarchy, setting the stage for one of history's most infamous systems of oppression. In 1948, the National Party won the election, and their platform was chillingly simple: apartheid. This wasn't just casual racism. It was a systematic, legal framework designed to separate and dominate. The Population Registration Act classified every single person by race. The Group Areas Act dictated where you could live, forcibly removing millions from their homes. And the notorious pass laws required black South Africans to carry a passbook at all times, controlling their every movement. Life became a maze of restrictions, a daily reminder of who the state considered a citizen and who it considered a foreigner in their own land. But oppression always breeds resistance. Even before apartheid was official, the African National Congress, or ANC, was formed way back in 1912 to fight for the rights of black South Africans. As the new laws tightened their grip, the resistance grew bolder. In 1952, the Defiance Campaign saw thousands of volunteers intentionally break unjust laws, peacefully courting arrest to overwhelm the system. This spirit of unity and defiance was captured in the 1955 Freedom Charter, a visionary document drafted by a coalition of anti-apartheid groups. It declared, "South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white," laying out a blueprint for a democratic, non-racial future. The peaceful path, however, was about to face a brutal turning point. On March 21, 1960, in the township of Sharperville, police opened fire on a crowd of unarmed protesters demonstrating against the pass laws. 69 people were killed, many shot in the back as they tried to flee. The Sharperville massacre sent shockwaves across the globe and changed the struggle forever. The government declared a state of emergency, banning the ANC and other liberation movements. Faced with this violent crackdown, some leaders, including a young lawyer named Nelson Mandela, concluded that peaceful protest alone was not enough. They went underground and formed Umkhonto we Sizwe, the Spear of the Nation, the armed wing of the ANC. The fight had entered a new, more dangerous phase. The state's response was swift and harsh. In 1963, a police raid on a farm in Rivonia uncovered the leadership of Umkhonto we Sizwe. Nelson Mandela and his comrades were arrested and put on trial for sabotage. In his now famous speech from the dock, Mandela defied the court, stating he was prepared to die for the ideal of a democratic and free society. They were spared the death penalty but sentenced to life in prison. Sent to the windswept Robben Island, they became living martyrs, their imprisonment a powerful symbol of the global anti-apartheid movement. For years, their voices were silenced, but their cause only grew stronger. For a while, the internal resistance seemed crushed, but the silence was broken on June 16, 1976. In Soweto, thousands of high school students poured into the streets to protest a new law forcing them to learn in Afrikaans, the language they saw as the language of the oppressor. Police responded with tear gas and live ammunition. The image of a dying 13-year-old, Hector Peterson, being carried through the streets became a global icon of the state's brutality. The Soweto uprising was a seismic event. It sparked a wave of protests across the country, reigniting the struggle from within and inspiring a new generation of activists. The world could no longer look away. The 1980s saw South Africa descend into a state of near civil war. The government, under President P.W. Botha, adopted a total strategy, combining brutal repression with minor reforms designed to win over some moderates while crushing the radicals. In response, the ANC, from exile, called on the people to make the country ungovernable. Townships erupted in protest. Internally, a new, massive organization called the United Democratic Front, or UDF, united hundreds of civic groups, unions, and churches in a powerful, non-racial front against apartheid. At the same time, international pressure reached its peak. Economic sanctions, cultural boycotts, and sports bans began to cripple the South African economy and isolate it from the world. The regime was cornered. By the end of the 80s, the apartheid state was unsustainable. It was militarily strong but politically and economically bankrupt. The fall of the Berlin Wall also changed the global political landscape. In February 1990, the new president, F.W. de Klerk, delivered a speech that stunned the world. He announced the unbanning of the ANC and other liberation movements, and just days later, Nelson Mandela walked free from prison after 27 years. But freedom was not yet won. The next few years were a tightrope walk. Tense negotiations, known as CODESA, began, but they were plagued by violence and mistrust. Far-right groups threatened civil war, and political violence in the townships killed thousands. It felt like the dream of a peaceful transition could shatter at any moment. Against all odds, they pulled it off. Leaders from all sides, especially Mandela and de Klerk, managed to steer the country away from the abyss. A date was set for the country's first ever democratic election. And so we return to April 27, 1994. The day that was feared to be a bloodbath became a celebration of peace. The election was a resounding success, and the ANC won a landslide victory. On May 10th, Nelson Mandela was inaugurated as the first president of a free South Africa. He spoke of a rainbow nation, a new country at peace with itself and the world. It was a moment that gave hope to people everywhere. The journey didn't end in 1994. To heal the deep wounds of the past, South Africa established the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, or TRC. Under Archbishop Desmond Tutu, it provided a platform for victims to share their stories and for perpetrators to apply for amnesty in exchange for the full truth. It was a painful but necessary process of confronting the past to build a future. Today, South Africa still faces immense challenges. The economic legacy of apartheid persists, with deep inequality and poverty. But the story of its struggle remains a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the belief that even the longest, darkest night will eventually give way to a new dawn.